What is up, guys? It's Doodoo Poker here, back for another video. Today we are going to be talking about the theory of the flop check raise from a GTO point of view. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at all pot types. We're going to determine the pattern. We're going to look at single raise pots, 3-bet pots, 4-bet pots. What we're going to do is we're going to look at GTO aggregate reports for the flop and see the check raise percentages. We're also going to look at the call and folding percentages. So before I show you the results, please answer this question. What pot type check raises the most and what pot type check raises the least? We're going to understand and answer this question in this video. Let's go to GTO Wizard. So in GTO Wizard, we go to the flop aggregate reports, and here we have under the gun versus big blind single raise pot. So versus a 1/3 size c-bet, we see the big blind is going to be check raising. Let's see what the percentages are. 14.5%. So you add these two percentages together. They're folding around 42 and calling around 44. Now we want to compare this to a button versus big blind spot. What do you think is going to happen when I look at the flop aggregate report for a button versus big blind spot? Well, keep this 14.5% check raise frequency in the back of your head. When I go to button versus big blind, you see something changes. Now we're no longer check raising 14.5%. Instead, we drop our percentage down to 13.9%. So we're check raising less versus a weaker range. We're also folding less and calling more. So this is very important to understand. In theory, when you're against a strong range, you check raise more. This is counterintuitive because you think you would check raise less. You check raise more so you can realize equity. You also fold more and call less. So against a weak range, you check raise less. You fold less and call more. Against a strong range, you check raise more, but you also fold more and call less. This has huge implications for different pot types. Now, this is a single raise pot. Let's go to a 3-bet pot. What do you think is going to happen for a 3-bet pot? Well, when we go to 3-bet pot for flop aggregate reports, cutoff versus button 3-bet, you notice something. Let's say button bets 20% on the flop and the cutoff responds. Now, what do you see? Add up all these check raise percentages. This comes to 18.6%. So again, we check raise more versus stronger ranges. That means if I'm comparing a single raise pot to a 3-bet pot, I check raise more in a 3-bet pot. It's important to understand this because most people will think, oh, they have a stronger range, I check raise less, but it's the opposite. You want to realize your equity, so now we're check raising 18.6%. So are you noticing a pattern? Let's go to 4-bet pots. We go to 4-bet pots and we see this is a button 4-bet versus a small blind 3-bet. And the button bets 25% on the flop. Look at what the small blind does. Now, we know in 3-bet pots, they check raise 18.6% because it's a stronger range than single raise pots. In 4-bet pots, we even jack up the check raise percentage more. Now, if you add all this up, it goes to 22.2%. So again, the same pattern. Stronger range, increase the check raise frequency. Weaker range, decrease the check raise frequency, but increase the calling frequency and decrease the folding frequency. So let's go back to notes. So what did we learn? We learned in a under the gun versus big blind spot versus a button versus big blind spot that you want to check raise more against the stronger range. In under the gun versus big blind, we're check raising 14.5%, we're calling 43.7%, and we're folding 41.9% versus a bet 33%. In button versus big blind, we're check raising less, but we're calling more and folding less. So against the weaker range, you decrease your check raise frequency, but you increase the call frequency and decrease the folding frequency. Now we see the same pattern in 3-bet pots. In a 3-bet pot, you check raise more than a single raise pot. We're check raising 18.6% in the cutoff versus button formation, and even more in a 4-bet pot. Button 4-bet versus small blind 3-bet. If we bet 1/4 on the flop, we check raise 22.2%. So the moral of the story is, When you're against a strong range, you check raise more, but you also fold more and call less. And when you're against a weaker range, you check raise less, but you also fold less and call more. If you enjoy this type of content, please give me a like, please give me a subscribe. New video every single day, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.